Next, to revelations here in the French press that an ex-jihadist from Syria who returned to France was planning an attack during the Bastille Day parade on July the 14th in Paris. Now, the newspaper Libération is reporting that on its front page today. That's their front page entitled "The Attack Which Paris Escaped." Although we've heard in the last hour from the French Interior Minister, he said he has never had any knowledge of such a plot, and French state prosecutors saying they don't have any elements on this in their investigation so far. The newspaper Libération, though, say they're standing by their information. Well, there have been a spate of revelations about the suspect in question, that's Mehdi Nemmouche, including revelations that he may have tortured foreign hostages in Syria. He's also a murder suspect currently facing trial, accused of shooting dead a Jewish couple in Brussels on his return to Europe. All right, let's get more now with Olivier Guita, a consultant and security and counter-terrorism specialist. Thanks very much for being with us on France 24.
My pleasure.
Now, this case of Mehdi Nemmouche raises many issues about security and jihadists returning from Syria, many of them with European nationality, including here in this case. What did the authorities know about this suspect, Mehdi Nemmouche, and what he's claimed to have been up to?
Look, Nemmouche is really one of the models that you can see as far as Western recruits. It was used in Iraq and Syria mostly for keeping the hostages and being able to speak in French directly to the hostages. He was not a fighter per se, because remember, ISIS and Al-Qaeda do not trust Western recruits with leadership. And so one of the reasons we think he was on to other attacks is that, you know, the copycat of Mohamed Merah in Toulouse, if he hadn't been arrested after his attack at the Jewish Museum in Brussels, most probably he would have prepared other attacks. To make sure that the Libération story checks out, it is very probable that he had this in the making.
OK, so information still coming through on that. As we say, the French authorities, the Interior Minister saying had no knowledge of that. Do you think Mehdi Nemmouche was monitored closely enough on his return to Europe?
Not really, but the problem is the French authorities got very lucky to find him. If you see the whole process, the Germans actually tipped up the French about Nemmouche's return, and then Nemmouche was stopped in Marseille, actually being suspected of having drugs, and you know the policemen were able to find him because he was on the list of potential terrorist. But the problem is the manpower that we have in Western Europe. To track down a guy like Nemmouche, you would need, on a 24-hour basis, 20 to 30 people just do that. And if we assume that there are 800 French jihadists in Syria at the moment, and let's say, you know, even half of them return in the next few months, it's still 400 people to monitor, and clearly the West doesn't have the manpower to do that. So we still rely heavily on human intelligence. So basically the family or friends being able to come to the authorities and say, he's returning and he's planning this and this plot.
More broadly, what can Western governments do about returning jihadists? I mean, there's been a lot of debate in various European countries about proposals to take away their passports and stop them coming back.
Yes, I mean, one thing that has proven to be a good measure was the toll-free number that the French put in place. And that's what I'm saying. At this point, we can do whatever we want as far as the electronic intelligence. If we don't get the human intelligence, it's going to be very difficult to get everybody. And as we've seen in the case of Nemmouche, which is the first case of a returning jihadist perpetrating a terrorist act on European soil, many more can go through the cracks.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, though, for your analysis. That's Olivier Guittada, consultant in security and counterterrorism. Thanks for joining us.